Welcome to the finale of the Mental Health Awareness Month, where I've been talking about different mental health topics with different professionals and individuals that I value and who added value to the conversation. I am so grateful for all of them and the conversations that we had this month. But today, I have two astonishing ladies who are community leaders, and we're talking about mental health and wellness of the leaders who make a difference in the community. I'm excited about this conversation. Stick around, you don't want to miss it. Oh, and thank you for watching, whether you're watching live or later. I appreciate you. All right, so before we get started, I just want to introduce my special guest for today, but allow me to reintroduce myself. Angela Beasley is a licensed professional counselor, international presenter, singer, and creative visionary with a heart for ministry and healing. With experience spanning mental health, media, and public speaking, she empowers audiences through faith based insight, trauma informed care, and authentic storytelling. A former podcaster and global presenter, Angela uses her voice, both in speech and song, to inspire transformation, cultivate hope, and restore lives across cultures and communities. It's time to introduce my guests. Born and raised in New Orleans, Sharday Womack is a licensed Louisiana attorney known for her unwavering integrity, character, and strong work ethic. Her professional journey spans diverse sectors, including partnerships with entrepreneurs, nonprofits, educational institutions, and law firms. She has worked on cases involving personal injury, successions, trademarks, and business law, and mass torts. Beyond her legal career, Sharday is an esteemed speaker, advocate, and published author of the Amazon international bestseller, Aim High, Create a Blueprint to Conquer Your Life. She is also the visionary founder of SciAms, Surely I Am My Sister, a nonprofit dedicated to empowering women in their pursuit of education, business, and leadership. SciAm's Bridges to Brilliance program mentors girls aged 17 to 25 as they transition to college and career pathways. Next up is Kimberly DeLosa, who's the president and CEO of Fion Productions LLC, widely recognized as the godmother of NOLA. A passionate community leader since age 22, Kimberly has pioneered innovative youth programming in Greater New Orleans for over 25 years. She founded the Euthanasia Foundation, Incorporated, in 1997 to provide creative, culturally driven prevention and intervention initiatives for teens. Her dynamic leadership has earned her prestigious awards, including the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Louisiana Angel Award, the New Orleans Saints Community Quarterback Award, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation Community Health Leader Award, and Essence Magazine's Powerful Woman of the Month. As an inaugural W.K. Kellogg Foundation Community Leadership Fellow from 2014 to 2017, Kimberly leveraged her expertise to transform her nonprofit work into Fion Productions, merging community solutions with entertainment for broader impact. Okay, we are about to get started, but you know what to do. Like, share, and light up the comments as we have this meaningful conversation today. All right. Well, welcome to the finale. Y'all, I am so excited. First and foremost, thank you for watching, whether you're watching live or later. I appreciate you being present. I appreciate you rocking with me this month. This month has been amazing. And last month, well, welcome to June, but it's been amazing because I've had so many people come through, and I just want to give them a shout out and a thanks. Thank you to everyone who participated, everyone who gave me your yes, who lent your expertise, your essence, your wisdom. This month has been beautiful, and I don't want to delay. You saw the pedigree, the accolades of the two guests today. Really excited to have them. They are both near and dear my heart, and they're dynamic women who are doing amazing things in the community, and I want to give them enough time to talk and share the who's that they are. So I'm bringing up both Sharday Womack and also Kimberly DeLosa, godmother of Nola, and I know her as T. Kim. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you for having
Hi.
us.
Of course, of course. Thank you for being here. And first and foremost, y'all look good.
Thank you. So do
Thank
you. I
you.
love this color on
You.
you.
Thank you. So
Mhm.
I want to hop in, and I didn't want to rush my intro, but I want to give you both the time that you deserve because you both are dynamic women, as I stated before, doing amazing things in the community. Both of you have, like, I wanted to say, and I said, kindred hearts and spirits, because you give back to the youth. You've been given these big visions to give back and to cultivate the next generation. So I want to ask you about both of your initiatives, right? I'm going to start with T. Kim, or the godmother of Nola. I know her as T. Kim, but the godmother of Nola, Kimberly DeLosa. What led you to found Fion? Am I saying it right?
Fion Productions.
Fion
hmm
Productions. About it.
Yep. So Fion stands for Future Icons of NOLA. As Angela knows and everyone knows, I started mentoring teenagers right out of Tuskegee University. I graduated from prep, went to Tuskegee, came out in '97, and my degree is actually in architecture. But at the time, I had a younger sister and younger cousins. Right, we were in the heat of the late '90s, where we were known as the murder capital of the nation. And I'm like, oh no, I got to get them off the streets. I need to occupy their time. So, what really it was my volunteerism on the weekends. I was architect Monday through Friday, and on the weekends I would have them. And through that, I discovered this is actually the Lord's purpose for my life. So that after 25 years of mentoring generations and thousands of teenagers, I realized I was a community leader in trouble. Like, as leaders, we are known to lead. We are the helpers, so we feel like we don't need help. At least I did. It's like, okay, I know I'm mentally crumbling, but I am the leader here, and I cannot reach out, or I'm going to appear weak and vulnerable. And not only are these kids looking to me, but I have elected officials. Everybody wants the godmother of NOLA to answer. And I have for almost 30 years. I have. But what happened is, and you know, the saying, pressure bust pipes, pressure
Mm,
definitely busted pipes. Decades of pushing. Okay, my grandmother's in hospice, but I got homeless people to feed. I'm going to be fine. I can balance all of this. I'm a wife. I'm a mother, but I have these grants to write. I'm kind in about 3 years ago. Pressure bust pipes, mentally, physically, and I just had to sit back and look. If I'm a community leader, a very public person that's in mental trouble, how many more of my colleagues are hiding? And that's how the insanity of giving back came to be. Because if you look at our lives, we got to be insane to do what we do. We feed the hungry, we clothe the homeless, we mentor teenagers. When a teenager is killed, I'm out on the scene. You're bottling all of this up into your spirit, but you're not letting it out. And so I'm saving my colleagues, while Angela and Sharday, you all are taking care of the world. Now I've been called to take care of you, in a nutshell.
wow.
That's
You
powerful.
said something so significant. Like, we use the analogy of being the strong friend, right? The one that does everything, that everybody comes to for solutions, the one that um seems like they have it all together, but essentially the strong friend needs someone to check in on them as well. So now I'm so grateful for the initiative that you have, that you are taking the knowledge of what you've gone through as a community leader, and now you're pouring into mental health and wellness of community leaders.
And in essence, it is a largely ignored public health issue. And now let's just look at it in real time, because I'm doing what I'm doing. Right now, this whole jail outbreak has the city on a stronghold. Well, as soon as it happened, my mind went to the sheriff. Like, can you imagine being, at the end of the day, this woman has to go home as a human being. She was born into this world by herself. When she dies, it's going to be her on that cold marble slab by herself. There will be no sheriff title. Who's checking on her as a human? Humanly, can you, Mayor Latoya, I can go on and on. And these are my colleagues and my friends who I know. You got to stand up in front of these cameras, but inside you burning. You are ripping. My friend, State Representative Kyle Green, he's also going through it right now. I don't think of these people as state representative, councilman, mayor. I know this man as a husband and a father whose face is being trampled all over media and in the comment sections, that his children, his wife, his mother, they have to read about this state representative making a human mistake, but media is it's not kind. It is not kind. And at the end of the day, if we don't check, that's how we wake up and see reports like a DA has taken his own life in his office because pressure bust pipes. You have a lot of community leaders and community caretakers that are suffering in silence. And I'm going around saying, how are you today? I'm not talking about you as a CEO. I'm asking you as a human, how are you doing today? And if you're in trouble, here's a mental health resource. You need to reach out.
That's so good. I'm going to go to
a real thing.
Absolutely. That's so good. And we're going to come back to you for more. That was a lot of great information for sure. Sade, regarding you and your vision, right? You've done a lot of great things as well, my girl. But tell us about SIAMS. Surely I Am My Sister Incorporated. And I'm happy to say that I am a mentor and board member of this lovely initiative. Tell us about it.
So SIAM, Surely I Am My Sister, was birthed from a place of need. Obviously, I thought it would be something that I would birth much later on in life. Because usually, when you want to give back, my perception of giving back is after I've established myself in a way where I feel like I'm in a level of overflow where it wouldn't affect anything I have going on. But, God has another plan all the time. When we tell him our plans, he laughed and he said, yeah, like, let's do this 10 years earlier. So at the time, I knew it was a need because as a first generation college student, I went to college. I knew I was always going to college. I just didn't know how to navigate a college campus. And I think between the ages of 17 to 25, it's a lot of difficult decisions that we have to make and permanent decisions that we have to make. Yes. But I don't feel like you have the mental, emotional, or even spiritual capacity to do it. But there's this expectation by the world, by society, to say, make your life decisions and how you're going to live your life for the rest of your life between an age where we feel that we are the most immature. So it's like, you're very immature at this age, but yet we want you to make these grown-up decisions, right? And so when I graduated, before I graduated, I was working with organizations like Students at the Center, Fire Youth Squad, right after Katrina. And I saw the disparity in education in New Orleans, and I wanted to do something to help. And although I was involved in a lot of grassroots organizing for about 5 to 7 years, working with those organizations, I knew I needed to do more, which led me to go into law school for education policy and wanting to change the laws around education so that everyone could have an equitable experience and not some people have some resources and others didn't. So that was in about 2007 when I started to kind of have a hunger or a desire for advocacy, right? Mm-hmm. So that advocacy began to grow throughout undergrad, graduate school, and law school. And so when I graduated from law school, I was like, dang, I feel like I need to do it now. But I'm like, I need to wait. I gotta pass the bar. I gotta do all of these other things. But yet, God just kind of paused my life. And it was like, now, during this pause, it's like, do it now. And so at the time, I found other women who were either, from similar communities, similar backgrounds, who were first generation college students, first generation professionals. And I said, we need to come together and give back to girls that look like us, sound like us, but that have a strong mind, that knew that they were going to make it out and just needed some support along the way. And so we did it in 2018. COVID happened and we just came back again with it last year. Originally, it was geared towards college students. And this year was our first year working with high school students. And it was an absolute delight. Challenging nonetheless, but we had a great experience throughout the journey while we were doing it. And so today we had our advancing ceremony and retreat over the weekend, and that was phenomenal. The girls had a blast. We had a blast too. And in mentoring, so let me back up. So SIAM's initially, that vision is to educate and support women that are pursuing education, business, and leadership. So we're not here to convince you, right? You're already in pursuit. We're here to come alongside your pursuit. And then aside from that, in addition to that vision, there are pillars under that vision. And one of them is a mentorship program that we call Bridges to Brilliance. Yeah. And the Bridges to Brilliance program is actually something that prepares high school students to transition into college and prepares college students to transition into their career path. And so that experience has always been near and dear to my heart because I understand the power of mentorship. I've had great mentors that were always in the form of a professor or a teacher along the way. And I've always had someone to sit me down and give me direction. My family knew I needed to go to college. They just couldn't do more after that. It was like, you need to go and stay and graduate. And that was it, right? And so while on college campus, it's like, how do I pay for this? What do I do with this? Should I have paid for this? When I look back and I understand more about the financial aid process, I should have went to college for free. Like the whole thing should have just been free. But if you're not aware of those things, then you sit back and you like, I'm in this amount of debt because I didn't know. Yeah. And so now our hope is that as we mentor these girls, we have an experience where they focus on scholarships. Like we do a month just focus on scholarships. Like you don't need to pay for college because that's free money. And then in addition to that, we are communicating with them and providing a network so that when they go into that field that they're aspiring to be in, that they have someone along the line. So for example, one of our mentors, her mentee wants to be in mechanical engineering. Using our network, she reached out. She said, okay, let me reach out to my network and let me see who I know that's a mechanical engineer so that they can have access to people who are already in the professions, have access to these internships. This is already happening in other parts of the country and world, and even here in New Orleans. It's just not always attainable or reachable or accessible for young minority women. Yeah. And so our experience and our hope is that minority women have the same opportunities that are this process, this system that God has given me. When I looked into other cultures and I looked into other places, they were already doing this. And so when he gave it to me, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. And then I sat at other tables and I was like, oh, wait, we're kind of behind a little bit. This was already being done. And so where other people are just making a phone call, we weren't making phone calls because we don't have the representation to actually make the call. And so I know people in society say, oh, you don't have to go to college and college is not for everybody. If I'm being 100% honest, I know this is being recorded, so it is what it is. We're the only people that's saying that. No other culture is promoting children not going to college. Our culture is like signs, bandwagons, you don't have to go. Mm-hmm. The problem with that is this. I have a friend who's from Michigan who came to Louisiana. She sat in a hospital in northern Louisiana and was treated horribly because they thought she was uneducated. They didn't know who she was. They thought she was just this old whatever and felt like they could treat her any kind of way. Not saying if you are uneducated, you should be treated worse, but they didn't know who she was at the time. And so she was treated horribly. Then she got transferred to another hospital and was treated even worse. at the second hospital, both here in Louisiana. I'm saying that to say this. When you don't have the doctors that look like you and sound like you in the room, and you don't have the nurses that look like you and sound like you in the room, who's going to advocate for you? Who's going to speak on your behalf? Because in the medical field, if you talk to different people that are in the medical field, there is a unspoken conversation that people like me can endure pain more than other people. That people that look like me should be able to go through procedures and processes and not require the same amount of medication. Same thing in the legal field. Godmother was just talking. There are people who believe that if you go into the courtroom, you shouldn't have the same opportunities to have more lenient punishment than other people. That's a problem. But when we're not in the courtroom and we're not represented in the courtroom, we don't get the opportunity to offer a different conversation, to expose another group of people to a different perspective. And so while no, everybody may not have the opportunity to go to college, what I'm saying is if we're not in the room, then there is no advocacy. And then the decisions that are permanently being made and permanently being put in place, there's nobody speaking on our behalf. So our goal is to educate is to promote higher education in as many young voices as we can, so that we can be represented in the rooms that we often have to advocate and fight in.
That is so good. And I love SIAMs, and I'm so grateful that I am a part of the process, because we see the greatness of the girls in the room. We see their potential. We're able to pour into them. And like you said, using our networks, using your vision to push them forward to be our next generation leaders. So ladies, this is amazing. This is amazing. But I want to talk about you. Okay. You both birthed really great, dynamic, impactful initiatives. But how do you prioritize your own mental health and wellness as a community leader? Let's start with you, Godmother T. Kim.
Well, and for me, this is new territory, right? Because I'm always the one who, okay, I can do it. I can do this. I can do these 3 events and still do this and still. Right now, I turned 50 in December, and I'm in the season of no is a complete sentence. I was always the one, I got to go to this rally. I would look at my calendar. I got to go to this rally. I have this grant due. I was asked to speak at this ceremony. Right now, I'm just in the vein of no. I've been in community engagement for almost 30 years. It was go, 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 go. And that was fine. In my 20s when I started, I didn't have a husband. I didn't have children. Now I have a husband. I've been married almost 25 years. It's like, it's time to just say, no, I got to get my head back in again. So for me, this is new territory for me, exploring the freedom of, let me just go and enjoy a movie. And no, I can't come to that event. I can send a donation. I can give you a letter of recommendation, but I can't physically, I just can't do it. I can't come in right now. So I'm in the season of understanding my human boundaries that I used to push as I'm a superhero. I'm T. Kim. I can be everywhere. I can do this and it's just not, it's not physically possible anymore. So that's me in my mental health, exploring. And then I got a phenomenal therapist, because in the beginning, I'm like, that's embarrassing. I don't need a therapist. I'm everybody else's therapist. Why should I need a therapist? But I needed a therapist. So she is like the wind beneath my wings, because she's tracking my pulse. Like, no, you telling people you can come. No, you cannot. Because no, you're just not in a headspace. Again, because it's new territory for me, saying no. It's like I need to be reminded, no, you can't. You just cannot do it. You need to lay down somewhere. You've done enough. So that's me. Just really enjoying new things. I just told my daughter, look, I'm about to become a gym rat, which I have always wanted to become, but just never had the time to become a gym rat. Because I'm here, I'm there, I'm community leader, I'm wife, I'm mother, I'm daughter. It's like, okay, come on, I'm in my 50s. I have 2 high school graduates under my belt. It's time to switch over into the me mode.
Yeah.
That is so good. And I remember the way I know, and the reason why I'm calling her T Kim, we called her T Kim back then, but I used to assist her in her endeavors. And I just remember her just moving in all of these facets and being so amazed by the strength. But also, I love the season that you're in where you know is a complete sentence. You're looking at your needs, your powers, your desires, putting yourself first. That is so important for longevity, to be able to continue to
Yeah.
help others and to pour into others. You must pour into yourself. So that's really good.
And then I gotta make y'all laugh before we go to Sade. So, you know, the young man, one of the escaped inmates put out a video, right? And my friend, you already know I go into T Kim mode. Like, I don't see an inmate, I see a child in trouble. And my friend was like, I know what you're thinking. You think you can save them? You need to sit yourself down, because I can feel what you're thinking right here. Because I'm like, oh, this, do you hear the conditions of the prison? We need to go to the prison. My friend's like, Kim, these people can handle. You sit down and you pray. And right now, prayer is my most powerful weapon. It's like, prayer changes things. So let me just sit over here and cover the young man in prayer. But you know, Angela, you know, I go straight into saving mode. Like, okay, what are we doing? What's wrong with his mental health? He look like he not okay. I need to. And my friend like, you cannot save everybody. Chill out and just pray.
Cannot save everybody, and that's something that we need to resonate on as leaders, as people who pour, even as women, or even if you're a man watching this today, you cannot save everybody. Sade, what about you? How do you manage mental health and wellness as a community leader, as such as yourself?
In this season, I would say walking and journaling. Walking I started walking to just be honest. I don't look overweight, but when you walk upstairs and you're trying to catch your breath, then that's a problem. So I was like, one day walking upstairs at my house, I was just like, this is so fat of you. Like, you have to get yourself together. So I was like, what can I do to, like, start off slow? Because I'm extreme when it comes to I'm just an extreme person. And so, naturally it's like, let's just go to the gym, let's go every day, all of this. And I was like, what can you maintain? Like, in real life, what can you really maintain? So I live near the lake. So I was like, let's just walk to the lake and walk back every morning. Let's just basic level walking, right? So I started walking, and in my time of walking, I felt God was like, you're gonna be able to walk upstairs and come back downstairs without, losing your breath, but you're also gonna have clearer thoughts, clarity, and just clear mind and clear inability to focus better. So I started doing that, taking vitamins, just learned that as African American women, there are certain vitamins that in like a one a day or a regular pill, that multivitamin pill, they don't necessarily have the dosages that we need, and sometimes we need more dosages than other people. And so just learning about that, I've been getting this smoothie from Smoothie King called Pure Recharge, because I can't drink coffee anymore. I don't know what happened. I overdid it when I was studying for the bar, and now it's like it just messes me up. So like my heart just doesn't beat right with coffee. So I started getting this smoothie called Pure Recharge that still gives me energy. It's really healthier than coffee anyway. And I add a multivitamin to that, so that helps me with the vitamin intake, because sometimes fatigue and tiredness and things like that, it could be warfare, but sometimes you're just not taking care of yourself.
It's true.
And I feel like I'm just not taking care of myself. Like it's other things that I need to be doing to take care of myself. If I'm saying I'm this vessel of God and God created me to be fearfully and wonderfully made, how am I properly stewarding what He's, giving me? And so it just started with walking, journaling, being able to, make sure I get some type of vitamin. If I don't get all of it, something at least to start with. Changing my diet, trying to eat a little bit healthier, and that physically changed how I felt every day. And that mentally changed how I began to feel every day, because my physical health I wasn't feeling like blah or groggy or just, all of the things. I wasn't tired, getting full 8 hours of sleep at, in the bed, like at 9:45. Like if I don't go to sleep, I'm in the bed. Like I'm doing the things at least. So trying to just align myself with a lifestyle that will sustain me, because I've been on diets. I definitely think that therapy thing is great, but I also think that there are additional things as we get older. Now, if this was me, now mental health at 30, I'm 37. Mental health at 37 is not the same as mental health at 18. And when I was younger, I was able to just do more, like physically do more, endure more, and just move around more. I just can't do that anymore. And I know as you get older, your body just begins to just shift without you even knowing that things happen to your body. And it's like, we need more conversations about this, because I don't even know why this is doing this. Like, why is my back hurting? Why is my arm hurting? Why is my knee hurting? Things like that. But part of that experience is just not physically taking care of yourself. And so the mental part is, I want my mind to be right. It's like going to the gym. You go into the gym and you're working out, but then you eat what you want to eat. And it's like counterproductive for the goal. Absolutely. And so it's like I'm talking more, I'm more vulnerable, I'm reaching out to the right people that have the licensing and ability to help me, but then I'm not paying attention to what I'm putting in my body and what I'm doing with my body in addition to that. And so it's counterproductive. And so I felt like God was like, you need to focus on both. You can't just do the mental health part and then the physical health part is falling by the wayside. I need you to tap into both so you could carry what I need you to carry effectively. And so when I started doing both, everything shifted. Now, what I will say is, how does that show up? Because a lot of times we can keep going and we ignore the signs. And so two things happen. I have a very close friend, and I had a conversation with her because, like T. Kim, my natural instinct is to just show up for people. That's just how I am. And that's what I was taught, right? So this is layered. So there's a part of me that was taught habits to just be, like my grandmother taught me, always show up. If it's family, if it's close friends, you show up, you be present, you serve, and you honor. That's what I was taught my whole life. And that's just what I do naturally, right? And that's what my grandmother did. And that's what my grandmother showed me. So I'm doing what I was taught my whole life to do. Now, at this age, with a career, with other responsibilities and all of these things going on, I'm like, well, how is my grandmother doing this effectively and still being okay? And was she really okay? And so I had to begin to unfold and layer that back and say, okay, these are great characteristics and great attributes to have. But then how do I tone this back to where I don't feel like I'm being the sacrifice when Jesus was sacrificed, right? We only two sacrifices. So how do I accept what was done and then say, okay, this that I'm doing is good enough? So I talked to a friend. We had a conversation. This was probably like 15 years ago. And at the time we talked, she was basically like, she wasn't coming to me about things that she needed to talk about in her personal life, because she felt like I was always busy helping people and she didn't want to be a burden to me. And at that moment, that was one of the first indicators that helped me position myself differently in the lives of people that I cared about and loved. So I care about people generally, but I did not want to spread myself so thin that the people, I sat on her couch and I cried on her couch week after week in different seasons of my life. What I refused to do was to have the people that I loved and cared about that deeply feel like they couldn't come to me. And so I had to begin to create these layers of connection. And so, yeah, if I show up, I'll help when I'm there, but I may not be able to hold someone's hand throughout an entire process. But when I'm present. And that has to be enough for the sake of the capacity being distributed proportionally in a wise way. So when my friends and my close friends and my close family need me, I can be there and they don't feel like they're a burden to me, because I'm there, always there when I need to call on them. And so that was the beginning of me creating boundaries. That's when I learned boundaries in that place, right? It wasn't like I had this mental health moment where I was like, oh, I got to get myself together. It was like, I know my capacity and I never want the people that I'm crying to feel like they can't call me. So I had to shift my capacity for the sake of my community. And I wanted my
It was the same.
community.
I feel like I want to lay ribs on hand and say, "Oh yes, I'm so glad Sade learning this in her 30s because I wish I would have learned it in my 30s because it's the same thing." My closest friends were, oh Lord, they were just crying at my lowest. They were crying like, "Why wouldn't you not come to us?"
Yeah.
Because y'all come to me. I'm supposed. This is embarrassing for me to even say that I am at this low point, but I have to be very organic and honest in this new season to say, listen, I know y'all know me as the godmother Nola, but life is really lifing right now, and I'm gonna just go ahead on and be honest and tell you everything I need to unload. And like sure they said, like in my 20s, I formally stuff, but I have been doing since I was 11 years old. Like my grandmother recognized the leadership potential in me, and I led my first summer camp at 11 years old. My grandmother had she named it Kim's Camp. I was the director and I was in charge of, because of course, you know, in our community, you go to your grandmother's for the summer. So I had all of my first cousins under me. Everybody had this. It's like I'm a born leader. I'm like, I am the firstborn daughter of a firstborn daughter who is the firstborn daughter of a firstborn daughter. I'm raised to be a matriarch from a small child. So yeah, it's like this is very uneasy to go to your closest friends who normally come to you to say, listen, this is it. Like I'm very low. This is where I am, but that's the season. It's like, come on. Now that I'm being honest with my mental health, now I'm looking at my community colleagues who I know on a personal level. I know you struggling personally, but you're on channel 4, like you got it all together. And I know this is not so, and this is not healthy to live. You're living inauthentically. I need you to go and get some help.
Yeah.
And one of my good friends is a CEO of one of the charter school associations. And I made my friend look me in my eyes. I said, I don't want to talk to the CEO because I kept seeing news report after news report after news report. This child is dying. That child, all of these schools are under you need to tell me how your mental health is. And my friend's eyes filled up with water. It's like every time I ask the question, people like, oh Lord, we didn't even think about the mental health of the leaders. Yeah. I told Sheriff Hudson, you're talking about the mental, and this was way last year when I spoke at her women leadership brunch. You're talking about the mental health of the inmates, but I stood up and said, but I need to know about your mental health. And she just stared like nobody's never asked me about my mental health as a sheriff. Yeah, you pressure bust pipes, and if you don't stop, you're going to crumble.
Listen, so I want to ask y'all, as leaders, how do you recognize when it's time to step back? When is it enough? Someone in the chat said capacity is their favorite word. When do you realize that you have met your capacity and now it's time to step back?
Well, I hope they don't let it go. And for me, I had a stress-induced heart attack. So it's almost like God was like, had his palm on my head, like, you about to stop. And I mean, you're going to stop right now. This is it. And when the doctor said the words, I couldn't do nothing but dissolve in tears because I know I did it to myself because I was steadily sweeping stuff under the rug because I have to serve. I have to show up. These people don't want to hear about my grandmother being on hospice or my son is dealing with us. They don't want to hear that. They want T. Kim. I cannot afford my prime budget. Can you help me? When stuff like that shows up, it's time to put personal. So that's when I was like, okay, come on, Kim.
So certainly, your body is going to tell you.
Your body's going to tell me, and the Lord will tell you. Because quite honestly, I didn't even want to be here no more. It's like, okay, look, Lord, I done fulfilled my purpose. Go ahead on and take me out, baby. I had funeral shoes and everything picked out. Take me, because if I'm this low, I know you. Maybe my purpose is over. My grandmother always taught me, the Lord, when your purpose is over, I don't care if you're a 2-day-old baby or 110-year-old human being. When your purpose is done, God will call you home. And I'm like, okay, Lord, I used to wake up and look at the ceiling fan like, why am I still here? It's like I was just that low. But now that I'm looking back and with therapy, it was all along to give birth to the insanity of giving back. Because who better to save other community leaders than a community leader who was ready to leave this world? Yeah, the pressure literally bust my pipes, literally.
So before we go to Sade, I hear you. It was the mental state, right? You found yourself in a very anxious and depressed place, a place where you were just thinking of not being here anymore, as well as your body was talking to you. I know
And
that
let
when
me
I
tell
was going
y'all.
through my
Oh,
own
I'm sorry.
situation,
I don't want to interrupt. I'm sorry, y'all.
no, you're fine.
I'm sorry.
I know that when I was going through my own situation, that my body started talking to me. Stress is a killer. Stress will do it. So that's my story. But Sade, what about you? What are some indicators when it's time to step back?
I think indicators for me are, it's a few. Lack of creativity. As leaders, we have the ability to bring solutions to the table, right? And you work under pressure consistently, because that's what leaders do. The difference is that leaders just know how to handle pressure well, and other people can't handle levels of pressure that leaders can handle. That's ultimately, like I tell people all the time, the difference in levels of leadership is ultimately the amount of pressure you can handle and still function and not let it break you. And that's
But
all
Sade,
that we
are we?
gain.
And I'm a because y'all know I'm elderly. I gotta tell it before it leaves my brain. But Sade, are we? Now that I'm looking at think, I want you to think about it too. Are we being effective? Because you know me, I used to be girl grant writing. I stay up 3 or 4 days without sleep grant writing. But that was also a part of my body breaking down. Like Kim, you know you're supposed to be going to sleep. Why are you not going to sleep? I would literally be up brain right. The sun come up. It's time to get children ready for school. I'm coming back to my desk. Maybe take a 30 because these grants have to go out. It's like at some point your body gonna say, baby, yes, the ability to stay up 3 or 4 days without sleep, grant writing is the mark of a true leader. But if you should die today, another leader will take your place. It's like these are the kind of conversations that I had to have with myself and to not look at myself to say, damn, I'm weak. Damn, I let that grant deadline pass me. Girl, you've been up 72 hours writing grants, writing this grant to get it. And yeah, you are awarded the grant, but look at you. I'm having anxiety attacks, heart palpitations, but guess what? The grant got in. Now, if I would have died before, it's like I'm starting to see things in perspective now.
For sure.
Yeah, so I think when it comes to your creativity, when you're no longer able to create from a place of joy and delight, I think that's an indicator that happens before you even feel it in your body. We call it like writer's block, or we call it like, oh, something, whatever. I think at the point you feel it in your body, I think that's like the end, right? That's the last step to me. That's the step that you didn't choose to sit down. That's the step where you have to sit down. But there are indicators before we have to sit down that take place. And the first thing I notice, I'm not creative. Everything is like just regurgitating, and everything is just like, oh, I just did it for the sake of doing it. That's one of the first indicators. If I'm still moving past, I'm not creating and I'm still doing something, then productivity tends to be strained. It doesn't feel like there's a grace in it, right? And so I'm pushing stuff out, but then there's no grace in it, but I'm still getting it done, right? That's like another indicator. At the point that my body begins to feel physical pain and my mind begins to feel overwhelmed with migraines and things like that, at that point, I am past overwhelmed. I am past exhaustion. At that point, you're in a place of, you're not on E, you're actually in the negative at that point. And what it costs to get back to at least E is really twice as much time. But there are layers of indicators and warnings that come way before the heart palpitations, way before the depression, way before the thoughts. Thoughts don't just happen like overnight. And so my goal at this season of my life is not to get to the, oh, I'm depressed, oh, I'm overwhelmed, oh, there are so many things that I have. And this is why I say what I had to unlearn, because there are so many things that happened before that moment. Like me having migraines for months is not the indicator. Like that was indicators before that. I have to ask myself, why did I ignore those things that happened before this point? Like before you get to a point of about to burst, there's so many things that happens along the way that I have ignored. And so my goal is, even with the girls that we're mentoring, is to help them find those little things now. Like, how do you pinpoint today, before the headache came, before your body came, before you, because when I get stressed, my right shoulder thrives. I could take a million pills, no matter what kind of pills, no matter what kind of pain medicine, it will just hurt. I feel like it's about to fall off. But before that took place, something else had happened that I ignored. And I have to ask myself, why did you ignore that? And if you ignored it, who taught you to ignore that? And then rethinking the way I believe I need to show up is helping me shape how I show up. So if I'm like, oh, you gotta just push through, you gotta push through, I'm forgetting about God's grace and what I'm doing. And now I'm doing it in my own strength. Anytime you have physical pain in your body, it's your own strength. Anytime you're overwhelmed to the point where you're straining to push it out, it's in your own strength. And anytime you're in a place where you're trying to just get it done for the sake of getting it done, there's no creativity, there's no joy, and there's no delight, there's obligation. And at the point that you're moving out of obligation, it's no longer fruitful in the way that it should be. And so though results come and though productivity comes, there's still a part of it that's not that you're not honoring you're not honoring the moment, and you're not honoring God in the way you should, because you're dishonoring your help, you're dishonoring your approach, you're dishonoring how God told you to show up, which is in love and kindness and joy and faith and hope. All of that is going out the window when you're doing it in your own strength. So I check, am I creative right now? Do I have faith? Do I have hope? Or am I in my own strength? Like, all of that is what I'm trying to show the girls now, because I've already did the overriding that, and I don't want to override that anymore. I want to now pay attention before I get to that point, because I think sometimes we share how we feel and what we go through, but that part that we're sharing, that's the end. That's the life of that moment, right? So before we get to the life in that moment, what happened before I got there? And then why did I allow that to happen? And what is my belief system that's internally keep overriding the warnings that God is sending me? That God is really sending a warning, and I'm overriding it every time. That's a mental health problem at that point. Before I get to the hospital, the fact that I'm overriding His will, the fact that He's telling me stop, and I keep going. Something in me, whether it's pride, whether it's arrogance, whether it's wanting to please people, whether it's wanting to show up to prove that I can, all of that gotta die. Because even if I come out the hospital, that belief system is gonna still be in me, and I'm gonna get back in the hospital again. Even if I get a therapist, if that belief system is still there, I'm gonna tell the therapist how I feel, and the belief system is still broken. And so I have to ask myself, me doing all of this and me overriding God's will, because that's what you're doing. You're overriding His will when you say, I'm going to keep doing it just because I know it got to get done. You're saying, I know that God don't have grace to cover this. Even if I miss this deadline, He'll give me a grant. I just missed like 3 or 4 grant opportunities just in this last month alone. And I had to stop and I had to pause. We actually went to, we went to Holshines after the concert, and then Angie read a what it was, my fortune cookie little thing, and it talked about God positioning me, like not God, but it said you're gonna be positioned in something. I'm saying that to say, on that day for that concert, I was thinking, I'm like, I'm about to miss this grant. Like, I'm thinking about it now, but then I had to pause and say, do you believe in the grace of God? Or do you believe that this grant is the supplier? Do you believe that God factored in the mistakes that you're going to make? Or do you believe in His mercy? Like, which one is it? Because you can't do both.
Which one do you believe?
Your actions are going to show what you believe. And that's where God has me. How you move going to show me what you believe about me and what you believe about how I feel about you. And as I sat with that, I began to humble myself, and I say, I'm not pushing past because I'm trying to get the grant done. That's not the real reason. Why you really?
It's okay. She'll come back. So, this has been a beautiful conversation. Oh, welcome back, Sade. It's all good. It's all good. So, you wanted to finish your thought before we close out?
No. What I would say is, when it comes to mental health, it stems from something that's in a belief system that you're carrying, and that's why you're showing up the way you're showing up. And whether it's pride, arrogance, you've been a people pleaser trying to overcome people pleasing, whether it's you've been in a position where you feel like you gotta show up because if you feel like you're the only one that can show up and do the job, that's a dangerous place to be, because you saying God can't use nobody else. That's dangerous.
And guess what? That's me. And the kids will say, and I know Angela, they all grown now. T. Kim, you cannot do everything. And I can count on my hands who I do trust. But now at this big old age, I'm yielding like, look, here's my idea. Y'all grown now. Take it away. Even down to hosting these mental health break nights at Boomtown. It's like, I'm so in tune with the Lord right now. I clearly, the day before I even went to Boomtown, I clearly heard the Lord say, go to Boomtown. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, Lord, what are you talking about? What are we doing now? Because I had come to the point like, look, Lord, don't tell me to create nothing else. I don't want it. Leave me alone. I clearly, so the next day I get up, I put on the business suit. I literally sat outside of Boomtown. Now, I've been to Boomtown countless times. I go to brunch. I go, I sat in my car, in that hot car, a good 20, 25 minutes, like, Lord, you telling me to go in this doggone casino? I can't, either I'm going to get arrested for loitering or either they're going to welcome me or I'm going to get arrested. And I went up to the second floor. First, I went to the wrong building, and these people actually told me, oh, this is who you need to talk to. And in my head, I'm like, Lord, you might be on to something. These people literally, because they should have shut me down at the first building if they were like, we're not interested. So I go to Boomtown, second floor. I go and ask for who they tell me to ask for. And this little bitty lady was like, oh, no, you need to see me. To make a long story short, we've been hosting mental health break nights at Boomtown for the past 6 months, literally giving living icons, the most impactful individuals and organizations, their flowers, because I'm tired of my people like me dying, and then we have a second line. We need to be partying and letting them know sometimes all it takes is a thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for what you've done. And tonight, I just want you to dance like nobody's watching. And that casino welcomed us with open arms. So, and it's like they're getting bigger and bigger. Sponsors are signing up to sponsor because everybody realizes we need this. We need these mental health break nights right about now.
Awesome. Well, ladies, listen, there's so much more to be said, but time has been well spent. I want to give you your final moments to just tell us what's going on and what they could look for from you, if there's anything you want to just share regarding your endeavors. Let's start with Sade.
Okay. I will leave you guys with this. I heard a sermon and the pastor said, if you save the woman at the well, she'll save the whole city. Ask God who you're called to. Who are the people that are your assignments? Only focus on those people. Don't get distracted with other people. Focus on those people. Because if you focus on the people he called you to, they will grab the city, the country, the state, the nation, and anybody else you're trying to reach. That will help you maintain your mental health, because you wouldn't be spiraling trying to help everybody, because once again, you wouldn't be overriding what God said. God said, there's a group of people in this place at this time. Focus on that. Anytime you step outside of that, you're overriding what he said. Stop overriding, because you would have to keep praying about the mental health if you don't stop overriding. Then I would say, if we intentionally train, equip, and empower people, we wouldn't have to be the ones in the room. Ultimately, the best version of a leader is equipping, training, and preparing and empowering someone else to do the work that's already inside of them. if you're a real great leader in this season of my life, you can ask Angie. I stepped all the way back in everything I'm involved in, and I let the experts that God brought me be the expert and lead in their own capacity and in their own way. I don't have to touch it because I have faith in God that who He sent to me, they are capable. And so if I believe God and the vision He gave me, I can step back and let them thrive in what they're supposed to thrive in, and then keep empowering the next generation with the tools to show up the way we show up. And that way, nobody's overwhelmed. Nobody's feeling burnt out. Nobody's feeling like they don't have anybody, because we all are doing just our part. Just do your part.
That's
So
good.
you can find Siam Shirley, I Am My Sister, on Facebook and Instagram. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook as well. We have a new cohort coming up in August. If you're interested in being a mentor, please email us at Shirley, I Am My Sister at gmail.com. If you think that you have any college students or high school girls who would like to be mentored, you can also email us at that same email address, and we will contact you with an application. And they can go through the application process, get interviewed, and if it's a good fit, we don't accept everybody, but we do accept the people that we feel we are called to. So if you would like to join us, if you want to volunteer, if you're a company or business that you want to donate or sponsor anything along the way that we have upcoming for the new year, if you want to come and speak, if you think you'll be a great speaker to the girls, definitely come and speak as well. And yeah, we'll love to have you in any shape, way, or form.
Thank you so much. And I do want to say this before I give T. Kim her final words. It's been such a blessing for me to be a part of Siams. It's life transformational. I didn't think it would be, I knew it was going to be impactful, but I didn't know that it was going to impact me in the way that it did. It's just really beautiful to be able to give back to another. Takes you out of yourself, look at other people, and show you how you are impactful in many ways. So thank you, Sharday, for your vision. Thank you for having me a part of your initiative. And I'm so excited for the next cohort. And T. Kim, your final words regarding what you have going on.
Oh, yes. Follow all things The Insanity of Giving Back. You can like the Facebook page. You can follow The Insanity of Giving Back on Instagram. We are prepping for season 3 of the Mental Health Break Nights. So if you know of someone who you feel like should be honored as an unsung hero, you can email us at theinsanityofgivingback@gmail.com. This Friday, the community is yielding to honor one of the most iconic high schools in Jefferson Parish, L.W. Higgins. It's there. We're honoring the alumni. It's a free event featuring DJ Slab One, and we've honored Dr. Ashanta White. We've honored Larry Irving, who is the CEO of Brothers in Power to Teach. We honored 41 mental health professionals to kick this thing off. Educators, we've honored Zena Smith, who was the captain of crew of Nefertiti. These mental health break nights are really taking on a life of their own because everybody's recognizing these people need to get their flowers. So reach out to us. I created the New Orleans DJ Hall of Fame, the DJ Polo 504 New Orleans DJ Hall of Fame, in partnership with the Jazz and Heritage Foundation. And that was to gauge the mental health of our culture bearers. So right now we are going into phase 3, which is the commissioning of the photo exhibit. So we have these huge photos of the DJs that will be hung in various schools next to the band rooms to encourage not only the band directors and the bands, but the people in the school. So we turned the DJ Hall of Fame into a mental health initiative because can you imagine entertaining a group and you're in mental turmoil? So follow that, the DJ Polo 504 New Orleans DJ Hall of Fame. They call me the DJ Whisperer now because I've interviewed so many of them. But we are looking forward to class 2. So class 1 is, of course, Polo and his dad, Raj Smooth, DJ Slab 1, Slick Leo, a Bombshell, Boogie. It's legendary DJs. And they've all nominated someone for class 2.
Nice. Thank you so much, both of you. And I want to give a thank you to everyone who participated in this initiative. Listen, you just talked about your strong community. I'm so grateful for all of these individuals who are a part of my community. Thank you for the wisdom and insight that each of you have granted and shared with the public. I'm just so excited to see what's coming of both of your endeavors. Thank you for just the gems that you dropped on today. And most of all, I want to give a big thank you to Kevin. Kevin, my brother, who allowed me to do one of my podcasts at his studio, a lot of media podcast studio. He also has Buku Print, Buku Booth. And I just want to show a little snippet. I was there at his studio. That's where I did one of my podcast segments. And it's just, he's available to support your needs if you're a nonprofit wanting to start a podcast. If you are just an individual who has a vision, Kevin can help you birth that vision. Kevin 2 Cent. And also he's a photographer, just a multifaceted creative. And I'm just grateful to call him brother. He also has Buku Booth, which you can call him for any event you have. And like I said, he's a photographer. So his name is Kevin 2 Cent Griffin Clark. You can find him on Instagram at Kev 2 Cent or Buku Booth, or on Facebook, Kevin 2 Cent Griffin Clark. Well, that's it for today, ladies. Thank y'all so much. Y'all are just
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having us. This was wonderful.
This was
awesome. Look for a call back soon, okay?
Okay. Sure will. You know, I'm only a phone call away.
I know that's right, team. Well, and to all of you who watched today, who supported these two amazing visionaries, and you've been watching all month long, I don't count it. I don't take it lightly. Y'all hold up. I don't want y'all to leave yet. I don't take it lightly. I don't take it lightly that you watched this month. So love y'all. Thank you for watching. And until next time, peace.